Every night, the sky fills with thousands of stars, distant suns scattered across the darkness, ancient light traveling millions of years just to reach your eyes. But the moment morning comes, they vanish. Where do they go? The answer might surprise you. They don't go anywhere at all. The stars you see at night are shining just as brightly during the day. They haven't moved, they haven't dimmed, and they certainly haven't disappeared. The sun rises, but the stars rise with it, invisible, patient, burning in a sky we simply cannot see them in. The real reason is something called light scattering. Our atmosphere is filled with tiny molecules, mostly nitrogen and oxygen, and when sunlight hits them, it scatters in every direction. This scattered light floods the entire sky with brightness, creating the blue dome we see overhead every day. Think of it like trying to see a candle flame in a brightly lit room. The candle is still burning, the flame is still real, but the surrounding light overwhelms it. That's exactly what happens to starlight during the day. The sun's scattered glow is simply billions of times brighter than the faint light arriving from distant stars. Our eyes are remarkable instruments, but they have limits. They can't adapt to both extreme brightness and extreme darkness at the same time. When sunlight floods your field of vision, the pupils contract and your visual system prioritizes the dominant light source. Starlight, arriving from trillions of miles away, simply doesn't stand a chance. You might notice that the moon is visible during the day, and that's an important clue. The moon is close enough and reflects enough sunlight to compete with the brightness of our daytime sky. Stars, being almost incomprehensibly farther away, are far too faint to do the same. There's one dramatic exception: a total solar eclipse. When the moon completely blocks the sun for a few minutes, the sky darkens enough for the brightest stars and planets to become visible in the middle of the day. Ancient peoples were astonished by this, and even today, it's a breathtaking reminder that the stars were there all along. From space, there is no sky, just the pure black of the universe. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station can see stars at all times, even when the sun is blazing nearby. Without an atmosphere to scatter that light, there is nothing to outshine them. The stars are always on. We just need the right vantage point. What we call seeing a star is really a matter of contrast. Stars don't become visible simply by existing. They need darkness around them to stand out. The universe doesn't give us that darkness during the day, not because the stars have left, but because our own sun has turned the sky into a light source too powerful to see past. There's a magical window, though, that brief stretch of time just after sunset or just before sunrise, when the sky isn't fully dark yet, but the sun has dropped low enough that its scattered light begins to lose its grip. This is twilight, and in those few stolen minutes, you can watch the first stars punch through the fading blue, one by one, almost cautiously, as if testing whether it's safe to appear. It's not that those stars switched on, it's that the playing field finally started to level out. Twilight is the universe's curtain call, and if you pay attention, it's one of the most quietly spectacular things you can witness with the naked eye. Here's something that really puts things in perspective. Every single star you see at night is itself a sun. Some are bigger, some are smaller, some burn hotter and bluer, others cooler and redder. But they are all stars, all nuclear furnaces fusing hydrogen into helium, all pumping out staggering amounts of energy every second. And yet from Earth, they're reduced to tiny pinpricks because of sheer distance. You don't even need the sun to wash out the stars anymore. City lights do a surprisingly thorough job on their own. Light pollution is essentially the same phenomenon happening at a smaller scale. Artificial light, scattering off dust and moisture in the lower atmosphere, creates a permanent artificial glow over cities. It's why people who grow up in urban areas have often never truly seen the Milky Way. Drive an hour outside a major city into real darkness, and the sky transforms in a way that feels almost shocking. Suddenly, there are thousands more stars visible. The sky has actual texture to it, and you realize what we've quietly traded away in exchange for lit streets and glowing screens. Daytime is natural. Light pollution is something we did to ourselves. Not every creature on Earth shares our limitations. Certain insects, birds, and marine animals are sensitive to wavelengths and light levels outside human perception. Some migrating birds navigate partially by starlight, and researchers have found evidence that under the right conditions, some animals behave as though they can detect stellar cues even in low-light daytime conditions. We tend to assume our experience of the sky is the definitive one. It isn't. The sky we see is a human sky, filtered through human eyes and interpreted by human brains. Other animals are reading the same sky and pulling completely different information from it. The universe isn't just putting on a show for us. We just happen to be one audience among many. There's something quietly profound in all of this, something that goes beyond the science. The stars don't need our attention to keep burning. They don't wait for us to look. They were there before human eyes existed to see them, and they'll be there long after. What we experience as their disappearance every morning is entirely our problem, a limitation of the world we live in and the biology we were born with. Reality doesn't pause when we can't perceive it. The universe is bigger, older, and more relentlessly active than any single moment of human observation can capture. And maybe that's the real takeaway. Not just that stars hide in daylight, but that so much of existence is always happening just beyond the edge of what we're able to see. Tonight, when you look up and see the stars appear one by one as the sky darkens, remember, they were there all day, silent, steadfast, and burning, waiting for the light to fade so they could remind you just how vast and full of wonder this universe truly is.